Cole Palmer who was here. We
Chelsea,
could have
yes.
a team up and have different clubs get involved because we have so many young persons here. And therefore, those clubs would have a variety of persons from Synchrony to play for them and at the same time let our young persons realize football, just like any other sport and any other career, a good path to go. So congratulations again on your program and hopefully next year will be bigger. And I was there looking at Mr. Program for the content to it and hopefully it continue to grow and continue to impact our young persons positively and also the older ones because things and Nevis, believe it or not, you could have things like the footballing nation, especially St. Kitts. Nevis is more cricket, but St. Kitts is a lot of football, more history.
Caller, we're strapped for time. Could you be brief,
Yes,
please?
Yes, I'm going to go now, but I just want us to know, remind us as well, St. Kitts is a footballing island, and I'm so happy that this is it, to revive it. So God bless you all, God bless St. Nevis.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Yes, Don, you want to address that?
Yeah, very briefly, just thank you for your call and what you said, but I just want to build on something that you said around football and careers and things available. You know, let's be real. Less than 2% of the children will go on and become professional footballers. So we've also got to consider the wider careers in football: journalists, sport, medical staff, nutritionists, reporters, social medias, coaches, all of those other wider careers that are available, that ultimately the life skills and the things that are developed through this camp become available for those young people as well.
And you have another caller. Hello, caller.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Quinn. Good morning to Inspector Adin and the team. I hope your visitors have had a chance to get to come to work. I hope Mr. Morgan and Mr. Sergeant Adin or Inspector Adin would have had a chance to take them around and see Brimstone Mill and the other areas, stores, we have.
Absolutely.
I like the program. I think more national associations should copy something like this. It is very expensive. I had Mr. Morgan on my sports show a few weeks ago, and it's an expensive venture. I remember when it started, and like somebody said, it continues to go, and it will get bigger next year, and it will continue to get bigger for various reasons. I very much like the idea about bending the tree while it is young, getting to the children at these primary school ages, and not just grade 5 and grade 6, grade 3 and 4 as well, because you'll be able to identify those who are going to potentially become challenges, and you get a chance to fix it early. I am hoping that the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association is heavily involved and very extremely supportive of this program. And I've been saying for some time that the corporate community needs to get more involved, and I think they will get more involved if government were to give them, I don't know what the correct word, tax rate. By that I mean, let's say company A makes $10 million and they have to be taxed on $10 million. If the government puts in place that, hey, you spend $1 million as an example, and we're going to multiply that by a factor.
Caller, please be concise.
Yes, sir, I will be. I would have finished by now, really. And once you give that tax break of 3 times the $1 million, you only pay $7 million. I think that will cause corporate communities to come and board more. Keep on doing what you're doing, folks. And like the caller before, you said, man, you to the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, caller.
Okay, yeah, and I just wanted to jump in here quickly because, and I want to address this because the Prime Minister's office has been very instrumental in supporting this particular initiative. I remember speaking with the Prime Minister himself, Dr. Drew, the Honourable Prime Minister Dr. Drew, and his permanent secretary whilst they were in the UK, and they shared that it's something that they're really supportive of, and we also have to give credit to that office for approaching King Charles whilst they were in the UK, and the Crown through the British Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office in Barbados came on board the very last minute, but that's how some things go. You have to, it's moving, they're moving parts, and they've come on board and supported in a significant way also. So I just want to put that on the record whilst we're here talking about that. And obviously between Dr. Newton and Inspector, they know the corporate companies or entities that have actually come on board as they go along, and we'll still encourage them to do so. You know, this is an expensive undertaking. Even though we have one more day of camp, there are tons of invoices that still need to be rectified. So, you know, if you're out there and you're listening, and whatever you can give at this last moment, you know, we appeal to you, because remember, you're not investing in the sport, you're investing in the young
Children.
people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And once you get that, yeah, then we'll be fine. Just understand that that's what you're doing, because you are creating the next prime minister, the next minister of sport, the next Inspector Bergen, the next Sergeant O'Dane. You know what I'm saying? So remember, that's your commitment to your country when you're supporting a program like this. Doc, I know you were supposed to share something.
No,
Sorry.
I'm just thinking that too often we think of it as cost, and while it's important to recognize the expenses, I think we ought to rethink and restructure our mindscape to look at it as an investment, and there are ROI, returns on that investment. One of the returns on that investment would be quality of life and human flourishing in terms of exercise. St. Kitts and Nevis, as well as other Caribbean countries, are struggling with the issue of obesity. When you get young people from a young age involved in exercise, then they develop healthy habits, and that would impact the cost of public health, just that alone. That's one way of thinking about an ROI. St. Kitts and Nevis can become a sub-region, and my big vision for the camp is that this spill over into us putting in place a indoor facility so that we can attract colleges and professional teams to come to St. Kitts and Nevis. And you get 2-in-1, right? You get Nevis nice and St. Kitts sweet. That's what they say, sugar and nice. So what you have, Inspector and Surgeon, is sweet, nice, and nice, sweet. a double portion of that.
Absolutely.
When people come here. But they will have a top world-class facilities that can produce finances. Then I think the government has shown tremendous commitment, as well as the corporate community, in investing in our young people, because it impacts, right? Less crime, then what happened? An environment that is more enabling to do business, and you create greater wealth. However, I think that there needs to be a higher level of investment. Across the region, I have noticed that sports get the least amount of attention in the budget. I mean, tourism, education, and rightly so, public health. But we've got to look at sport as a critical area that will impact public health, the economy, tourism. Because this can be a tourism. Look at Dan, Coach Dan. You brought your wife and your child down, and they're having a wonderful time. And for them, they're supporting dad and lovely husband. But it's also an experience, right? Imagine that she goes back and she tells her friends, "What do you think is going to happen, Dan?" Her girlfriend's going to want to say, "Let's go to St. Kitts and Nevis," just out of this situation. And then perhaps we may want to be creative with the issue of investment. Look at the CBI program. Let's get 1 or 2 or 3 persons who wishes to become citizens of this country to invest in this program as part of their CBI contribution, so that it could be really sustainable. If you think about it, 3 persons invested in this program. And what we are going to have a transformed St. Kitts and Nevis. My final comment is, look at Palmer and all the other legacy-shaping players. St. Kitts have produced tremendous talent through its lineage, right? I mean, Palmer's grandfather comes from here. There are a couple others you were telling me about.
Cole Palmer, you have Marcus Rashford.
Marcus, right? Yes.
Yeah, Micah Richards.
And finally, the Governor General was told that was sharing with Inspector Nizer when she went to UK.
Yeah.
She had the opportunity of meeting some of the top players, some of the top clubs, and several have approached her office to say, "What can we do?" And a lot of these players, international players or people who work in the wider sports, have Caribbean lineage. They want to make a contribution, but there is no structure, initiative through which they can do it. And here is an exceptionally incredible program. Here's what I want to say finally. Corporate world, invest in your own self. You're creating an enabling environment when crime is mitigated against. Government, let sports be a high priority in your budgetary consideration. You are not just simply engaging in a cost expense, right? You don't have the luxury to say, I don't have the money. That's not an option. It's how can we find the resources so that we can really create a context for our young people to perform at a spectacular global level, and that's where we ought to go.
Okay,
Absolutely.
where time is fast approaching, so here's what I would like you to do. I would like each of you to make a brief closing statement.
Thank you, Quint. I want to first thank Almighty God for His continued blessing, strength, and protection over us each day. Thank Him for allowing us to host another edition of the annual Crime Intervention Summer Soccer Camp, a wonderful initiative that St. Kitts and Nevis need to buy into. I want to thank our volunteers, because without them we would not have been able to host 300 plus children. Thanks to the corporate community of St. Kitts and Nevis, both companies and individual persons, and of course winnfm. winnfm has been our partner from day one on this, and we have always come. They've always opened their windows and doors to us to come and sell the program. I want to thank all the persons, all the coaches who have come, Coach Dan and his team. They are here for the second time, and we're hoping to have them back again next year. And Dan, you're going to get a St. Kitts passport just now. And my passion about this is about the children, the young people of St. Kitts and Nevis. It's not about photo apps and them things for me. I am very passionate about youth development and seeing our young people going in the right direction. Dan spoke about it. Football is life. Football is not, everybody ain't going to be a professional, but you can be a doctor, a prime minister, a teacher, a pilot, something. And football, starting at an early age, helps to mold you, because this program is about discipline, character development, and teaching life skills to help the next generation of football players. So thanks to all who have made this year's editions possible, and I really appreciate it, and looking forward to next year. The universe is the limit.
I think for me, it's one to express thanks to everyone that's played a part in the experience of myself and the coaches, and as Dr. Nutt said, my family that are obviously visiting St. Kitts for the first time. Thank you to everyone that's supported us, whether that's through sponsorship of the camp, whether that's through taking us and showing us an experience and helping us to see this beautiful island. The second thing, and I have no place to speak as around your structures and your cultures, because I have no lineage to the Caribbean, but what I can speak on is the impact that sport has. Dr. Newton was right, it's not just about football and the execution of technical things, it's mental health, it's community development, it's social connection, it's relationships, it's education, it's all of those things. So, my call would be for you to continue to invest in those things, and that's what you're supporting as a corporate sponsor of this camp.
Oh. Right. And I don't want to end on a dire note, but I'm just going to say this because I want to say thanks to everybody, and I've said that countless times, but I think what a lot of people have to understand also is that there's a lot of behind-the-scene work that goes on in getting this together. And we got to a stage this year where we were down to the wire, and probably some folks were going to put their hands up. But what encouraged me more, and I'll say this and I'll put this on record, is the inspectors' commitment and care for the children of this federation that moved me to say we can't give up on them this year, despite all the challenges we were having. And I think for me, and I've said this and I'll put this on record also, Inspector lost his son during the planning of all this, yeah? And we know how his son, it's something that's documented. He lost his son at the hands of, that situation. And for him, after a week, he's grieving and reached out to me still to plan this camp during that period of time. I couldn't say, what else could I have said? Here's a man grieving, and I'm living life. And if someone who's grieving can take care or express more concern for other people's kids in that period of time, what excuse do I have to say to him, I'm not going to help you? So I had to jump in and go, whatever it is, Inspector, we're going to make this happen. And along with Dr. Newton, we rallied behind of him, and with the support of yourself, we're gonna promote you one day, but Sergeant today and your team,
God timing.
yeah, and the whole wider team, of the officers that are involved, Inspector Tressie and her team of drivers that she's organized, and everybody else there. I think you guys have done such a fantastic job in putting this together for 2 weeks, and no matter what, please take credit for what you have done. Yeah, don't let it slide. There are challenges, but do take credit for what you've done. You've had people from Anguilla over here looking at what you've done. Be proud of it to show it. And Dominica, they've been asking questions about this. Be proud, roll it out. Pick up the phone and speak to these people and say, what we're doing here is making a big change. You need to come and work with us, or we're willing to work with you to make those changes in those other Caribbean islands. And that's my final bit.
For me, what I like about the camp the most is the exemplary optics. It's so important, but it's also substantive. You have the Commissioner of Police, you have the Commander of the Army, you have Dr. Douglas, former Prime Minister, and then you have the current Prime Minister on board. You have the Governor on board. So the young people are able to see that you have some of the highest standing people in this community supporting them. And then I want to say, Sergeant O'Dane, thank you so very kindly for your commitment and for your exemplary work. Sometimes I know it's frustrating and it emotionally roller coasting. But the point is that you never give up. And within your own department, I read an excellent report that Inspector shared with me that you wrote when you came back from England about best practices, and you have shared that report with our people here. I also want to say that the parents really support this camp, not just the 2 weeks, but all during the year on Wednesdays and Thursdays and on the weekend. Of course, it's like a babysitting for them, but the point is, parents have said to me that we have the greatest degree of peace of mind knowing that the police and the army have our kids on the weekend or during the week under their safety wings. That has given parents psychological peace, and that's powerful, all right? The other thing I want to say is that as a country, we have got to look at the next generation and invest in the next generation, because that person, the person that you invest in now, may be splitting open your stomach in a triple bypass surgery, fixing up your car. Are you with me? Driving you to the emergency room, fixing up, being a mechanic. Are you with me? Making sure your electricity come on and running your programs in the media. Thank you so very kindly, 98 Win FM and 98.9 Win FM for your incredible support. And let us continue to support this program and build this wonderful country.
Amen.
Thank you so much. As we prepare to close the incredible chapter of the 3rd annual Crime Prevention Summer Camp, I want to thank everyone who played a vital part in this success. The dedication of the police officers, the volunteers, the generous sponsors, the support of the parents, and of course the amazing young campers this week was very powerful. A reminder that what a community comes to, once a community comes together, the positive change it can make. Mm-hmm. To our overseas coaches, I want to say thank you for sharing your passion and your wisdom. To the campers again, remember the lessons that you learned this week. It goes beyond the football field. Keep striving, keep believing, and always choose the path that leads you to the greatness. Tomorrow is our final day. We have a treat for the young campers where we'll have the law enforcement officers doing an expo, the fire, the customs, the police, and the defense force will be coming out to show what we do and what we use, the different things to engage our young leaders. This is just the beginning of building stronger communities through unity. Thank you very much.
And let me say on behalf of winnfm 98.9, it has been a pleasure having you here. I can feel your passion, and as you stated, and I will reiterate, your investment in time is an investment in our future generation. So thank you, and whenever you feel free to come back.
Thank you,
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thank you.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop www.shoptdcgroup.com.
Got itchy palms? That's a sign money could be coming your way with Scratch and Win from Caribbean Lottery. It's the easiest way to win instantly. No waiting, no fuss. With tickets starting from just $2 up to $20, win over $35 million in prizes. The higher the price, the bigger the prize. So scratch today for your chance to win up to $200,000. Available at Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be 21 years and older to play.
CariFesta is connections, community, and unity. It is understanding each other without saying a word. Separated by water, united in purpose. One voice, one story, one song. CariFesta is we thing. Come for CariFesta 15 in Barbados. Book your stay now at visitbarbados.org/CariFesta. CariFesta is the whole region looking good, and the whole road is rerun with. It's in the way we walk, it's the way we talk, it's the way we move. We ready for the world, and when we step out and pose just so, it's pure style and fashion. Look away! Come for CariFesta 15 in Barbados. Book your stay now at visitbarbados.org/CariFesta.
When can I open my eyes?
Not yet. Okay, open. Do you see what I see?
It just looks like land to me.
It's our land, son. A wise investment that will grow with you.
Invest in land with CIBC Caribbean and we'll give you US $250 towards your valuation cost and 50% off your loan application fee. With CIBC Caribbean land financing, you can choose to build, hold, or pass on to your children. Visit CIBCCaribbean.com to learn more. Conditions apply.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Flow customers, unlock big prepaid rewards every time you activate a prepaid plan. Activate a 7-day plan or higher and earn points towards your rewards. Activate again, earn even more points. Activate next week, well, you get the picture. The more you activate, the more extra data and prizes you earn. Get in on the big prepaid rewards. Dial *129 or visit topupflow.com to activate a prepaid plan today.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we're back, and that was very, very interesting, intriguing, and stimulating program there. Programs like those are vital to the nurturing of the next generation of youths. So again, we say thanks to those who take the time to participate in grooming our future. And following in that vein, I'm going to play you this clip that deals with a mom as she teaches her child the ways of life, association, integration, and otherwise.
Used a simple moment to teach her son something powerful.
You see all of these bushes right here?
Yes.
Now turn around and look at all of these orange and yellow plants. Okay, now you see all of these plants right here, the ones that are kind of pokey, standing up straight?
Yes.
Remember, the first set of bushes that I showed you, they were all growing the same way. They all look the same.
Yes.
And then the orange and yellow flowers, they were all growing the same way. Each and every set of bushes or flowers, they all look pretty similar, right?
Right.
Those flowers are growing the same way and they look similar because they're around each other. Same with the bushes, same with the plants, same with the trees. That's why sometimes when we go out to parks and you see a bunch of dead grass, the healthy grass becomes dead because of the dead grass. It's very important for you to be mindful of who you're around because you're going to talk like them. You're going to do the things they do. You're going to think like them. You're going to pick up their habits and their behaviors. You know how people say to you, you talk just like your mom. You sound just like your mom.
Yeah.
Do you know why that is?
Yeah, because I hang around you a lot. I'm around you.
Right. So either I'm going to be a good influence or I'm going to be a bad influence. And same with your friends. Same with the people you choose to have in your inner circle. They're either going to be a good influence or they're going to be a bad influence. So it's very important for you to choose wisely who you hang around. If you're around people who say bad words, you think you're going to end up saying bad words?
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe at first you might be like, nah, I don't say that, I don't do that. But eventually you're going to slip up and start saying it. If you're around people who is stealing and making these bad choices, do you think that you're going to end up stealing and making those bad choices?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because that's who you're around. But say you're around people who are good role models, good influences, who are making good choices, who speak with respect, who help other people when they fall down and show kindness. Do you think you're going to pick that up?
Yeah, I think I am.
Yeah, absolutely. When you go back to school this year, you don't want to be around the kids who are doing bad stuff behind the teacher's back. Who's stealing, who's hitting, who's lying, who's being mean. We don't want those to be our close friends. You can maybe help them and guide them to do better, but we don't want them to be our close friends. We want to be around the kids who are being respectful. Okay, who are listening to what the teacher is telling them to do, who are making good choices.
Yeah. And there you had a mom grooming her son. And that's what parents and parenting is all about. Grooming the next generation, and the earlier you start, the better it is. Do not wait until later on in life when you see negative habits coming to the fore to start teaching. Grooming starts as early as possible. Hello, caller.
Yes, Quint? Yes. Now, as good as sports and the other things are, only the Bible is the solution and answer to all the evils that are plaguing us and destroying society. Everything else will not work. Only the Bible works in successfully answering and confronting all the evils and wickedness and all those sorts of stuff that are plaguing and destroying society. That's one of these things that I wanted to say. There is no solution outside the Bible for life and the things of all of life. Also want to go on to say that this. No, what I was saying earlier.
Well, before you go on, sometimes, you amaze me because you're always speaking about the Bible and it is the only way, and you insert. But we just had a bunch of individuals, and I thought after having said the Bible is the only way, at least you would have said, well, we want to say thank you for those individuals who are taking their time and dedicating it towards grooming our youths for a better future, at least that, and not just always. You see, that is one of the problems where you come and it seems like not you, not just you alone, but people who come with this doctrine, they beat you across the head with the Bible every day, and they don't seem to relate to or want to take the time to relate to the everyday average living trend. We're not all bad. We're not perfect. So there are times when I feel you should always say what you're saying because it is your belief. But there are also times when I feel, especially after a positive thing like that, when you should pay a little time to say, I know that you're not perfect, you're not following the Bible way, which I feel is the right way, but I still must commend you for what you're doing because I think that you're doing a positive thing. Rather than just beating us across the head with this Bible, Bible, Bible.
Well, okay, Quint, number one, all of us are bad in God's sight, based upon Romans 3. There's none that is good. There's none that do it good. All of us are bad in God's sight. Only when we get saved, we become good by the blood of Jesus Christ. Now, what they're doing with sports, yes, I ain't got no problem with it. I thank them for doing it. I thank them, but it falls far short of the solution and answers to the evils of society that is plaguing and destroying society.
Greg, we hear you always say it falls short. All I'm saying is, having said it falls short, give a little credit and see what you do. You go right back to saying we're all bad. We know that. You preach that. Yes. The Bible says, but why pay if you keep beating someone that they're bad and they're hopeless? Even look, this is why you're different to me. And I don't see myself as an evil person. I grew up in the church, yes. I had some influence from the religious aspect and the Bible, but then I moved away from it because I didn't feel it was for me. But I don't see myself as a bad, evil individual. You may see that. You may say you're going to say you're doomed and you're on your way to hell, but I don't see myself as that. But here's it. Not everyone has a strong will like me. I am one of those individuals who has a strong, determined mind, who no matter what individuals say, I try my best to chart my own course with the help of whatever higher force gives me the strength to do so. But not a majority of the people in the world are frail, weak, their personality, their psyche. And when you beat them every day with this, you're hopeless, you only have this one way to go, and they have tried it perhaps and it hasn't worked for them, this is why, as life goes, you hear people committing suicide and doing all kind of stuff because people sometimes like you who tout only the Bible and that we're evil, we're born evil, we're nothing but evil from the time we're born until we die. It's beating certain people who have weak morals, convictions and psyche into feeling there's no hope whatsoever and just giving up on life and giving up on humanity. I'm not saying you're wrong to tout what you tout because I respect you at least for having a belief, but I feel that sometimes, like for instance, just after a program like that, yes, you come and you say the Bible is the only way, but then don't wait for me to tell you to say something and then after that you're going to say, yes, I don't have a problem with it, but you've already made your point before. So why not just say, okay, I feel it's a good thing and thanks for opening a way for our future generation to be better, and leave it there rather than always, you've made the point before that we're all sin and fall short and we're on the way to hell. That is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but the Bible asks again, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? There's no profit in that. And so, with all of these programs, there's no profit in them. If in the end you end up losing your soul, there's no profit in them. And that's the plain truth.
That's
be it sports or whatever. There's no profit in them if you end up losing your soul, based upon the Bible.
But who said we're going to lose our soul? Who say that when I die I'm going to lose my soul? That is your belief. That is your biblical belief, but I don't believe that.
Okay. Okay, well, I can only speak from the Bible point of view.
And it is because I don't believe that why I can move through life on a positive vein. I believe in a higher force. I don't know what that force is. I believe that certain things happen in my life that are divined by a force beyond my control, because there are times when I look back in my life and I say, wow, I didn't expect that to happen. Where did that come from? So I know some divine higher force is behind myself and humanity. But I don't conform to your concept that I was born in sin and iniquity, and I will live in sin and iniquity, and I will die and be cast into an everlasting flame of fire if I don't say kneel.
If you're not saved by the blood of Christ.
And again, I hate this by saved by blood. You know, there's almost so much about your idea, and there are more and more churches, more and more this and more that, and people are heading down a path of destruction. We're seeing even your churches and the people leading the churches, they don't have any values, any moral values to be talking about.
They're going to end up in hell too.
Yeah.
They're going to end up in hell too. They're wolves in sheep clothing, so they too are going to end up in hell. Anybody, all who died not covered by the blood of Christ and saved by the blood of Christ, by the blood of Christ, going to end up in hell, in and outside the church.
But Greg, when we die, that is the only time we're going to know if you're right and I'm wrong. And
I disagree.
And I feel that I'm more right than you are. That is my feeling. You feel that you're more right than I am, but I feel that when you go into the great beyond,
it is not feeling. It is not a feeling for me, and it's what the Bible says.
Well, it still goes with a feeling. What the Bible says determine how you live your life because of the way the Word and the Scripture and the Holy whatever makes you feel. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to let you make a final brief statement, and then I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break. I just wanted to say that occasionally, instead of always beating us across the head and saying that we're all bad, now and again, after having said that we're all bad, commend some of the people who are trying their best, even though you don't feel it's the ultimate way. Occasionally, I would like to see you commending. You know how refreshing it would have been if you had, from the time you started to speak, to say, I must commend those folks because because we see what's happening, crime and violence, and I think that it will curtail it to some extent, but I don't think it's the ultimate way unless you get saved and blah, blah, blah. You could have said that at least. Well, go ahead.
Yes, well, like I say, Bible says, we could gain the whole world, including sport, be the best sportsman and everything. But if in the end you lose your own soul in hell because you die without being saved by the blood of Christ, it was nothing. It was profitless. But what I also want to say quickly is that people who believe that God speaks to us today are going against what Ephesians 2 verse 20 says. And because the foundation has already been laid, which is the foundation of the prophets and apostles, with Christ being the chief cornerstone. And that is why, for example, when I ask them, those who believe that God still speaks to us today, when I ask them, since you believe God speaks to us today, how do you know that God will not be using somebody, whether it be today or tomorrow, whenever, to give us extra scriptures? And they're not able to answer those questions. And those videos, those things that you're playing with the Bible and books, added books and all this sort of stuff, they cannot answer those videos because they believe that God still talks to us today, which goes contrary to the Bible and doing more harm to the church than anything else.
And I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it on record. I don't say God, but I believe the Creator still speaks to humanity today. That is my belief.
I believe He does it through the Bible only.
Well, that is your belief. That is not my belief, and everyone has a right to their belief. It doesn't say that my belief is right and that yours is right. We don't know. Perhaps when we go to a higher plane, we'll find the answers there. Unfortunately, within this realm, there are so many, as the song says, there are more questions than answers. Do take care.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Flow customers, unlock big prepaid rewards every time you activate a prepaid plan. Activate a 7-day plan or higher and earn points towards your rewards. Activate again, earn even more points. Activate next week, well, you get the picture. The more you activate, the more extra data and prizes you earn. Get in on the big prepaid rewards. Dial *129 # or visit topupflow.com to activate a prepaid plan today.
When can I open my eyes?
Not yet. Okay, open. Do you see what I see?
It just looks like land to me.
It's our land, son. A wise investment that will grow with you.
Invest in land with CIBC Caribbean and we'll give you US $250 towards your valuation cost and 50% off your loan application fee. With CIBC Caribbean land financing, you can choose to build, hold, or pass on to your children. Visit CIBCCaribbean.com to learn more. Conditions apply.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And the time in the studios is approximately 9:41. And I'm going to play for you this clip that deals with confidence and character.
You can't be a person of confidence unless you are a person of character. People who don't have character don't have confidence unless they're sociopaths or psychopaths, right? So a person who does not have good character, they can lie as easily as tell the truth. It is because they're sociopathic, which means they have a social disease, or they're psychopathic, which means they have a psychological disease, and they might be a sociopathic psychopath because they just don't care about anything but the present moment. And they will lie in the present moment to get something that they don't deserve, regardless of the consequences in the future.
Yeah, you can't really have confidence without true character. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Good morning. Let me turn on the radio.
Yes.
Good morning to you, my good friend. Good morning. Day. Good morning, Greg.
Yes.
You will understand, you know. The excitement of learning something new, you know.
Yeah.
We have to learn to analyze, because God does not sit in the way Greg sees it. Mm-hmm. You may have the truth, but it is how you present it. Now I want to talk about emancipation. Tomorrow is August Monday.
Yes.
I was listening to a program on Observer Radio on Sunday. Carla was there and some others. They were talking about reparation and why. And they went to the history leading up to the emancipation, specifically in Antigua. And in Antigua, they're going to have midnight service tonight. You know that?
No.
We just waiting to go Juve. In Antigua, if you know the history, they were not put into apprenticeship.
Oh.
And they gave the reason why, the cost. The planters are going to cost too much to have to maintain these so-called free people, because you're responsible to feed them, clothe them, and house them. And so they agreed, I think Antigua and Bermuda. Now, Antigua was the headquarters of the Leeward Islands. And there was constant movement. The governor lived in Antigua. He visited the different territories like St. Kitts, Montserrat, and whatever. Now, the Moravians were prominent during slavery because they were the ones who were educating, teaching to read, basically.
Yeah.
And they were, well, a lot of the planters saw them as enemies, eh?
Yes.
Because once you teach them to read, they could reason and whatever.
Yeah.
So the news, somebody got the news that when emancipation come in Antigua, they were not going to be made to work for free for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
So, while Antiguan slaves are waiting to celebrate and give thanks, not so in St. Kitts. Because sometimes we have this thing that all of them went to church. That's not true. Many of them felt that the Moravians had betrayed them because they said that the Moravians must have known that in St. Kitts they were not going to be free. They would have to work for free. And in some cases they had to maintain themselves. So when the proclamation was read, I think it's somewhere in the country, huh? Where it was read, it led to a revolt in St. Kitts. You know that?
Yeah. Yes.
People don't know that.
But I'll tell you this though, even though I'm a student of history and I know a lot of history from different places, when it comes to St. Kitts Nevis history, I have a few books, but I'm not too versed on St. Kitts Nevis history. And when I try
you could check Antigua and the others, because remember it was whatever rule the governor made for Antigua was made for St. Kitts.
Yeah.
It's only that the planters had a different view. I think they actually gave Antiguan planters a little more because they said, look, what you're giving us can't maintain, can't pay for labor in St. Kitts, that's the problem too. That's like in Nevis. A lot of the estates were given up because if you got to pay people to work, people who don't want to be around you, you cannot be productive.
Yeah.
So there was people flee to the mountains, but St. Kitts ain't got a lot of mountains like Dominica and Jamaica.
Yeah.
Where you could get away. The militia came from Antigua to round up the people to put them back. Because people said, look, I am not going to work on the estate for free. And so they called upon the churches. Now in Nevis too, because it was interesting. The revolt was in Nevis too.
Yes.
Now some of the ex-slaves realized, look, we face military power. We have no vehicle. They gave them nothing. Not even a shirt or pants, because they used to give them maybe 1 or 2 suits of clothes.
Yeah.
During the crop season. Some of them had nowhere to go. Many flocked to Bastille. So they settled down. And so we had the situation where the churches now, because remember that many of them were angry with the churches, because they felt that they had conspired against them, that they knew.
Yeah.
And even though the Moravians said they did not know, it could have been true, because that was negotiated afterwards. They said they're not, you could ring all the bells for freedom, they're not going in the church. In Nevis, because I read this myself in the archives, the Methodist Church
told its members who refused to go back and work that they will not be given communion. You know?
Yes.
And so it was that in St. Kitts, where some of them said, look, they have one thing to do with the church because it deceived them.
Yeah.
They expected the church to negotiate on their behalf.
Yes.
The idea of working 4 more years without pay and without any confirmed thing that you would be supported.
Yes.
You know? So, in Antigua, in St. Kitts, we ignore the situation. I myself used to say, look, girl, if I was in slavery time, they would have to kill me, tell you the truth.
Well, I always say that.
I was not submit to all of that. I'd rather be dead, you know, so I'd rather, before I be a slave, I'd rather be in my grave.
Yeah. I know if
Don't give a great shake.
I know if I was around in those days, I would be dead.
No. When you hear all the abuse and the whatever, they might as well let them kill you. Now let me get to this carnival and the nakedness. Some people don't associate this take off all the clothes with the abuse that the women got in slavery, you know. You ever thought about it?
No, I've never thought about it from that perspective.
Yeah. When you got men treating you like a dog, walking up, I mean, what is left? All the slavery they raped the women, even if they're married, they had to give them sex.
Yeah, that is true.
A lot of our clear people, that I don't tell them to come out of the kitchen, out of the house. I mean, there was no respect. All in the field, they raped them.
Yeah, anywhere.
And the men were defenseless.
Yeah, well, they also rape the men too, you know.
But I'm trying to say, so when you have men, when you got these women, with their little piece of thing between their legs, bending over, and the men behind them having virtual sex. That is a representation of what our women suffered in slavery, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe some of them don't know. Even in Africa, we see the belly clothes and they put on the costume. The men cannot touch them.
Yeah, I was just thinking that because I've seen a lot of pictures with dancing from Africa and they show their hips and whatnot. Yeah, but you don't go there. Yeah, you can't. No, you can't do that. You're right.
Touch. You touch. Somebody become your wife.
Yeah.
Lack of respect, you know.
Yes.
And tomorrow, all the people waking up, we're going to have Juve. All we're going to have Juve. We're going this, we're going that.
But you know, Miss Henry, that is an interesting perspective because I never looked at it like that. Sometimes I wondered why, and I sort of linked it to some extent with our history, but I didn't look at it from. But what you say has merit, though.
Yeah, why? Look, sometimes it's shame. So sometimes when people say, oh, we Africans and whatever.
Yeah.
It arouses a certain amount of resentment, you know.
Yes. And that is also a good point because if we say I'm very, very African minded, and if we are gonna say, well, our roots are in Africa and we come from African heritage, a proud heritage, then why don't we look and see how they live, you know, and stop doing some of the things that we're doing that comes down from our colonialist past. So you're right. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. But black people, they own slaves too, eh?
Yes,
you're
right.
In the colonies, yes.
Yeah.
And
well,
not only that,
not,
you know,
not
the
to
overseers,
not
a lot of the overseers are black people.
Not
they put
to
a black man to
well,
burn you.
I'm gonna segue. Yeah, you're right, but they weren't the majority. But yes, there were individuals who, and sometimes I cringe, you know, because there were some individuals who came out of servitude, bought their freedom, and then bought slaves.
Bought slaves, yes.
So yeah.
And the only example they had was the one that was on the plantation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and even I was listening to C-SPAN a lot. I listened to it a lot. A lot of the Americans know that, the famous president. slave owners.
Yeah, all of them.
I recall when I went to, I don't know, I went to Washington, D.C. in 1993.
Yes.
And they took us to this house with the president nearby. Washington. I think it's Washington. Yeah, Washington. On a tour. I was so turned off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you saw the house, they had gardens and whatever. And this person, under the house, in the cellar.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
The cellar was the laundry, and they would wash and iron. That's what you mean to tell me. You have such an expansive place, and all you could do is put the poor slaves in that dark place.
Well,
and they had the Potomac River.
But they.
He had a plantation, and the slaves was saying, "Oh, Jesus."
But remember that the slaves were. You're aware of that that part of our history to do with a particular ship that was coming from buying slaves, and they met up on a storm. They met up on a storm.
I think he said that they were free.
Yeah, they met up on this. They met up on this storm, and the captain threw everyone overboard. And then when he reached
the mutiny, right?
No, not because of a mutiny. He threw them overboard because okay, let me finish this. So he threw them overboard. He told his crew to throw the slaves overboard, and then when they got to the mainland, they went to court and they put in an insurance claim that they wanted compensation for the loss of their slaves, and they went to court and won because their slaves were then looked at as material goods. Just chattel, yeah. So they're not.
I tell you, I was annoyed, you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't me go outside, you know? I got in vexed. I was getting vexed. They'll say, oh, he had this plantation and the river and whatever. And the praising Jefferson and Mr. Lord Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
You go to listen and learn, you know.
But, Miss Henry, that is why today, with Trump and his segregationist concept, you still see people saying, we want to go back to the days when America was great. But the days that they say America was great was the days when America had slavery and they got everything for free.
Well, Trump should go and sit down. they had the Irish down in these islands here, working like slaves.
Yeah.
They were here, you know.
Yeah. That is why we have Irish Town.
They were growing tobacco.
Yeah.
And cotton.
Yeah. That is why we have Irish Town.
They introduced black people. So he needs to know his history.
Mm.
But you see, we don't want to learn history.
Yeah.
They have a lot of history things. You could look them up yourself.
Well, I always delve in history, but what I was saying is that when it comes to certain aspects of Kittitian and Nevisian history, I can't get them.
But they're online, a lot of them online.
Well,
people have written books.
Sometimes I try
to do a lot of research and I cite, you know.
Well, I'm going to have to...
the people to walk around naked. Because whenever the one thing finish, some of them were determined they're not going back on the thing.
Mm.
And that's the way they had to grow their own potato and whatever.
Yeah.
And this breadfruit story, let me tell you. They brought in the breadfruit from, I think, the Mediterranean River, right?
Yes.
The slaves refused to eat it, you know. They used to feed it to the pigs. Maybe they began to eat them after slavery when they were forced.
Yeah.
But this idea that, no.
But you know, Miss Henry,
not the favorite of the slaves.
You know, Miss Henry, that they contort history to whatever they want it to be. So they tell us, because you would hear, one of the things like I said, I try to go and do research. I've bumped into something that was captioned St. Kitts and something to do with history. And when I read it, I just closed it off because it was saying that the majority of the slaves in St. Kitts and Nevis were treated fairly and kindly and blah, blah, blah.
Talking, you know?
Yeah, you know, so...
When I went to this Washington House or whatever, And the person smiled. Oh, you know, they used to. And I'm looking at the place, you know, in the downstairs of the house. I mean, the house is a very simple house and everything.
Yeah.
And and the slaves, they used to sing the boat, and we say, Lord Jesus. All I said is, Lord Jesus. This is a near that got in here.
Were these individuals white or Caucasian?
And they do have
I asked the question. Were these individuals? Were the individuals who were telling you the story? Were they white people?
Yeah, but I don't even think they were thinking about being white.
But that is what I'm saying.
The place
but here's my point.
Thing, eh?
Here's my point, Miss Henry. Here are some white folks, and they're telling you the history, and they don't even seem to realize that they're saying this history to a black person. That is why you felt like, angry.
So I tell them, look, even when they said, oh, they're going to take us to the White House, I say, you're not going. No, you got to be there at 6 o'clock and all that. I said, for what? I walk all around the White House because I spent 6 weeks in Washington, D.C. I went there twice.
Yes.
To the IMF. And I said, people lining up outside, and I'm going in there and see what? Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
So we need to study the history. And a lot of us, we ain't ashamed. So a lot of you men who acting like dogs in the street, you don't understand that is what your great-grandmother was going on. Mm-hmm. They don't care where they meet you. And they put their sons.
Yeah.
And they put some of their own children into slavery in case some of us don't know.
Yeah. Yes.
They were half white children.
Yeah.
In slavery too.
Yeah. They had all kind of names for them. Octoroons. I can't even remember the names.
If the wife also couldn't get children, or some of them came down without children.
Yeah.
They bring the family in the slave hut. Sometimes every now and again, if one of them saw a little thing, they take them out and maybe educate them also.
Yeah.
So we just have this, is emancipation that were you emancipated from? I mean, this behavior we're carrying on, we're getting more gross. More gross. It pains the women and all of your costume designers. We send you older at 77, so you don't got to tell me how old. Mm-hmm. You are embarrassing and degrading your own women. You're not creative. You know, people in Brazil live, I just read and search. Is it poor people that got in the street, dancing naked, half naked, and have the whole world got to see them. And they bring it to Trinidad and they bring it, and it reach here and we think we could. We think we're cute.
But also, Miss Henry, one of the things that they're marketing with those things in Brazil is they're marketing sex.
That's because the people are the poor ones.
Yeah. So when we get up and we follow them and we just put a little bit of feather and we're soon going to reach where we just sprinkle on the glitter dust or whatever. We don't seem to understand that we're saying to the world that we're marketing sex, because all where those places happen, sex, and you check the next 9 months after those festivities and see how many pregnancies and all those things.
Yeah, going 3 months ahead. Now, I was in Barbados because I used to go to the eye doctor, the medical doctor, my eyes.
Yeah.
And one Christmas, I went to Barbados to see the eye doctor, but my daughter lives here. And they were having, there's a big carnival, crop over, right? Crop over is now. Big thing. And there was one lady, you could say she half white or white, was in a troop.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap up soon, though, Miss Henry.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Though.
And she was almost practically naked, and everybody saying, "What she think about?" Mm-hmm. There was a big discussion on the radio in Barbados, you know.
Yeah.
About enforcing the Decency Act.
Yeah.
It is on the books.
Well, we've seen right here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, where sometimes they come off the ship and they're just very, very, very skimpy, almost.
You got to get the news.
Yeah.
We advertise it.
No, but it's how they
Anyway,
live.
so I'm talking to our young people around now, so you could talk when I finish. Please remember, whenever you pushing a woman over on the ground, 6 or 9 or whatever, and carrying on like a little bulldog in heat, it could have been your grandmother, your auntie, that went through that same kind of behavior without any defense. All right then.
Okay, thank you, Miss Henry, and you continue to have a great day. But in closing, I'm going to say that is not going to change, though. You know, the young generation want what the young generation want, and that is the trend, and we are not going to retard the trend. As a matter of fact, they will tell you, I've heard this song from an individual who, as far as I know, he was in the church, sang gospel songs. He still sings gospel songs, as far as I know. And he has this calypso, something about if you don't like what you see, don't come or stay out or whatnot. And I was kind of surprised because coming from someone like him, you know, who was in the church, but then, you know, people are people, and we can speak until we bust, but it's going to get worse, sadly, but it's going to get worse. Until we come to the realization that a people with our history should move forward with a sense of pride, a sense of knowing our worth, until we put that on the forefront of our thinking process, no, we're going to just degrade and degradate and whatever. Some people say, well, I only do it one time of the year. I need to release stress and that kind of stuff. But I remember one time I came down into town and I saw this, you know, those big tractor pulled thing with the band on top and so forth. And between the trailer where the generator was and the stand where the band was on, I saw this woman just lay back between there and this fella just throwing waste, and it looked absolutely horrible. And you could see on the look on her face like she was so proud, and he was looking back at the crowd like he was so proud. And as Miss Henry said, it was an assimilation of sex. And I'm thinking to myself, this is how you come into town to enjoy yourself, to be as the only extent for it to be completely explicit is to take off your clothes, because she barely had on any clothes to begin with. You know, he had on a little bit more because, you know, you have those kind of a long pants, but nothing covering his upper body but some marks and so on and so forth. And I feel ashamed when I see my people reacting like this. No one says you can't enjoy yourself. No one says you can't walk up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I see couples come into town, boyfriend and girlfriend, they do a little stance and she throw her hips back and he do a little grind. I don't have a problem. But to go to the point where you're assimilating as if though you're having sex, I mean, come on. You don't need that. But I also must commend some of the groups, though, because I remember one year I saw a group coming, a troop coming down, and there was this pretty young woman, and when they reached down in the vicinity of National Bank, there, she went down on the ground, and two women just came up and tapped her on her shoulder and tell her, no, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? She was ready to go on the ground and start pelting waste, and I felt good. You know, I said to myself, okay, some sense of decency. So, yeah. And that is how I'm going to end things for today. Do take care. Have yourself not only a great day, but a great life.
Found